Okay, here I am. Yay, here I am. Here I am. Thank you so much, Kathy. I see you there. Welcome to Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace. I'm so happy that you're here. We're going to dive into this conversation before I'm going to dive into what our show is all about before we dive into our conversation. Does that make sense? Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Ron, for sharing this episode. And thank you, Deanna, for showing up and being in my show for the very first time. I'm so happy that you're here. So blessed and thankful. And it is Moon Day. Yay. It's our favorite day of the week. We want to strategize about how to go about the rest of our week. Some people like to think really far ahead into the future, and that's all well and good. I work a little bit better with what's the next week going to look like? Maybe the next 2 weeks, right? Maybe the next month. But I've never been a long-term planner like that, like other people. And, if you are, that's great. That's wonderful. This conversation is still for you because sometimes when we think too far ahead, we forget about the present moment, right? And that's what mindfulness is all about. What is going on in your life currently that you may not be working on, you may be avoiding, or you may be struggling with. And so a lot of those things are the types of things that I like to bring up in this show. And Monday's episodes are meant to be short and sweet because then we dive deeper into this subject for the new moon and the full moon. And that's happening on Friday. Yay! It's the new moon on Friday. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Let me just tell you a little bit about what the new moon is compared to the full moon. And I'm very happy and glad that I've been having this conversation all day today because, this really brings joy to my heart. So I hope it really resonates with you as well. So compared to the full moon, the new moon is all about setting intentions. What seeds are you planting so that you can nurture them and watch them grow? Seeds of intention. Are you being intentional with your life? Are you being intentional with your plans? Are you being intentional with your content, your conversations, your relationships, your work? Okay. If you are feeling overwhelmed with your 9 to 5, how are you being intentional with moving along the wheel so that you create the changes in your life that you want to create? Have you been pondering that you want to launch a business? Have you been pondering that you want to launch some content, a podcast because you have something to say, a YouTube channel because you like to be on camera? Are you pondering all of these things, but you haven't done anything about it? The new moon would be the perfect time for you to really set intentions like, I'm going to do this. It is my intention to share my voice with the world. I have a message that I want people to hear. So all of those things, dreaming big. You have permission to dream big. And in the new moon, you have permission to do so, right? So we're going to talk about all of that in detail in the new moon episode. We get to journal. Hello, Frankie J. Thank you for joining. We're going to get to journal live, and we also get to paint. So you have 4 days to get your materials, and maybe you don't have acrylic paint. Maybe you only have Sharpies. Well, guess what? Sharpies work. Get yourself a black Sharpie and get yourself a silver Sharpie, and you'll be able to journal, cover it all up with the black Sharpie, and then draw something beautiful on top of it with the silver. That's what we do. Hello, Audra. Welcome. So this, for example, right here, this has something journaled in it, inside of it, or underneath it all. Underneath it all. Who sings that? Anyways. Yeah, now I'm getting into the singing part of the show. No, but I journaled that on the strawberry full moon in March, and that's why it's all pink and whatnot. And I journaled about The full moon is about release. So we did this 2 weeks ago. The second episode of this show was about the super moon, the last super moon of 2022, which made it all the more powerful, impactful, whatever you want to call it. What is super about it, right? Well, aside that it was our second episode, we got to talk about releasing overthinking. We're done with the overthinking, right? Overthinking creates analysis paralysis. And if you're stuck in between overthinking something like creating a podcast, creating content, launching a business, if you're just ruminating about what could go wrong or ruminating about all of your fears, then that creates analysis paralysis. Well, in the full moon, we let go of everything. We release it, or at least we set the intention to release that. And here's the thing. The beauty about these celestial beings like the sun or the moon is that they rise the next day and they set the next day, right? They're constant. They are beacons in our life that are a constant presence. And what that means is you get innumerable, or I should say infinite chances of going about it. So if in the last full moon you released something or you set the intention that you wanted to release something, but you're still overthinking, it's okay. Come back to the next full moon and release it again and set that intention again and again and again and again. And all of a sudden you're done overthinking and you've made a decision, especially if you set the intention in the new moon that you want to plant, I want to make a decision. Set yourself a deadline. By the time that the full moon comes, I'm going to decide between these two things. And then decide, what's the worst thing that could happen? That's actually a very interesting coaching question that allows you to see that even though we are afraid of things, even though there's a lot of drama that comes from fear of rejection or fear of not being liked or fear of not being good enough, when you look at what's the word that could happen, oh, it's this. And then what's the worst that could happen after that? You realize that you didn't die. So, just do it anyway. Do it with the fear. And this is the type of thing that I love to coach people through. And I know that this is a live show and I know that this is really exciting and there's lots of gadgets and cute little things. But this is a coaching conversation. This is a group coaching event where we all get to gather together in the same energy, share in the love, support each other, and inadvertently motivate each other because you're showing up here. You're not just showing up for me. You're showing up for yourself and you're showing up for the community. So I want to thank you for being here and thank you so much for being motivated and for wanting to figure out what moon, magic, and mindfulness with Grace is. Yeah, thank you so much. So let's talk about the new moon. What intentions are you planning or what seeds are you planting this week? What are you looking to create? What are you specifically looking forward to if you're not creating anything? But here's the thing, and I want to also clarify the whole thing about the word creation. And I spoke about this, I think, like on my very first or second episode, which is you don't need to be a content creator, right? You don't need to be someone with an online presence or on Instagram or Twitter or Fireside like myself and members of the audience for you to be a creator. You create your life. You are the reason why, not the reason, I don't want to be generalized in that sense, but you play a huge part in why or how the circumstance you live in is the circumstance you live in. And if you scroll down Instagram or some of these platforms, you might look at some content that says you create your reality, which means you're a creator as well. If you write books, you're a content creator. If you are an avid journaler and you've been journaling forever, but you don't have a social media presence, you're a content creator. Everything that you put together with your hands is content. We can see it, we can feel it, we can touch it, right? So it materializes from here. So Don't think that just because you don't have a social media presence, you're not a content creator. So this conversation really applies to all. And the thing about, for example, right now, and in this show, I'm not an astrologer, so we don't really get into astrology, but I do get my details, right, from some astrologers on Instagram. Right now, Mars is in Gemini for a season. And what happens with Mars in Gemini, all I caught from everything I researched is about communication. So during this season, that if you follow me, you'll know when it ends, because I'll let you know, it's all about coaching conversations, writing a book, having difficult conversations in relationships or with family members or with people in your community. Um, Therapy, if you need therapy, it's a great time to seek that out. It's a great time to connect and to communicate. So maybe the seeds of intentions that you want to plant are, I want to muster the courage to have that difficult conversation with my husband or with my wife or with my sibling or with my mother. Or I want to muster up the courage to make that phone call because I need help and I need to see a therapist. All of these things, this is what's brewing in the air. So don't be discouraged with my language, thinking that it doesn't apply to you because you're not a content creator. Yes, you are. So I'm here to tell you that you are. And if you've been wondering whether or not you should have more of a social media presence, then maybe this is your sign that you can and that you should and that we would love it, right? There's someone out there that you could help. Hello, Amy. Thank you for joining us. Oh, so how does that sound? Friday is going to be more in detail. We're going to journal, like I said. We're going to paint and we're going to get into all those details. Right now, let's strategize for the rest of the week. Let's talk about what we want to create and put together. So that's it. I mean, we're not leaving, of course. Now we're going to have that conversation. But thank you all for being here. I'm so excited to see your beautiful faces and what's coming up. Let's go ahead and say hello to Kathy, who is requesting the mic right away. Thank you so much. So Kathy has the mic, and anyone else who wants to come on stage and have this conversation, please request the mic. Hello, Kathy. How are you doing tonight?
I accidentally turned it off. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. And let me tell you all, we are broadcasting on YouTube as well. Go ahead, Kathy.
In the past, I thought about writing a children's book, and I also illustrated as well. And I turned it in as an essay for a school, and they wrote back and told me that I had high scores and that I had great potential, but I couldn't afford the school at the time to go to it. You had a mentor that would work with you that was an author, published author. So it was a really good course. And at the end of the course, you would be able to um, send a resume into a magazine like Highlights or another kind of magazine, or like I said, writing a book. And I had someone to be my editor, but she had the copy of the book, and she lost the floppy disk that it was on.
Mm.
So, but I remember it pretty well. And I was going to redo it again, except that the income that I get monthly would be taken from me if it was picked up and was actually published. I would have it taken from me and my insurance. So I was kind of holding off because of that. I had fear of that happening. But I decided to go with a pen name, another name, like some authors do. So I'm planning on doing that very soon.
Well, that's wonderful. This is the great season to think about this, and like you said, the pen name or other ways to go about it. I know for experience that getting a book deal doesn't mean that you're going to make a lot of money actually. So
Right.
you might get a book deal and still be able to hold on to that financial assistance that you're getting, or you could self-publish it as well as an ebook that only costs, I don't know, 99 cents or whatever, because you want to help moms, or I don't know, there's so many ways to go about it. But a pen name, I totally support that too. My mentor puts out content and publishes books all the time with a pen name, and she says, Graciela, I just love that there's books out there that people don't even realize are mine. And I'm like, you're so strong for putting that in a different name. So again, you are so strong for pondering all these things. And I'm not surprised that you're considering writing a book during Mars in Gemini season. So
Thank
that's
you.
wonderful, Kathy. Yes. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy that you requested access. You were so prompt about it and you got Fireside. So thank you so much for being here and us on Friday to journal and paint or do something with your journaling so that we can plant those seeds and then watch as they grow.
Right. I'm
Thank
looking
you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yay. Thank you so much. Give Kathy a clap, everybody. Thank you so much for coming up, Kathy. Yeah. So, Frankie J, you're on stage. How are you doing?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Cool. You can bring me on camera if you want. I don't look bad right now.
Oh, cool. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, I always give the warnings.
Hello. Look at you on your stage. Frankie
Yeah.
J is having a wonderful conversation tomorrow at noon.
Oh
Want to tell
yeah.
us all about that?
Yeah. Tomorrow I'm doing a talk, and this is probably going to be my most powerful talk to date. To be truthful with you, I'm doing a talk on parent alienation and who really gets hurt. Who really gets hurt in that whole situation? So nervous about it because it's like this is a real deal because it happens. It's one of those things that people kind of pushed to the side that doesn't get addressed, and so I'm excited that I'm finally gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. It has to be talked about, it has to be exposed, and
You're
you
having
know
the difficult conversations.
right, and you
Yes.
know me, I just I let it go. But I also have some, some what do you call it, discretion now, so I got to be, delicate with it.
Yes. Well, I mean, there's a way to go about things and there's a way to go about things. And I've
Right.
noticed that you are very elegant in the way that you show these topics, even though they're very, they can create animosity. We don't like to talk about the difficult things. We don't like to have the difficult conversations. And most importantly, we don't like to admit that we may be part of the problem when it comes to our social dilemmas. So I
Yeah.
commend you for having that difficult conversation. I will be here on Fireside to join you and
Thank
support
you.
you. Yes. And, parental alienation is not necessarily something that has touched our family because, for example, my husband has had custody of his children forever, and he's the man, and she was just not there.
Yeah,
And we
I
don't need to
understand
get
that.
into it, right? We don't need to get into it, but it's something that has touched many of my clients and my friends. So I definitely want to hear what you have to say. So everyone, give Frankie J a follow. Join us tomorrow at noon. We're gonna
Thank
have
you.
that difficult conversation.
And I got some feedback coming. Is that on your end? You got a speaker or something going on?
Oh, I don't
There
have
you
a
go.
speaker,
Oh,
but
that's weird.
it's probably because you're just on the phone and I don't have headphones.
Oh, oh, that could be it too. I don't hear it now. But also this thing behind me, this wooden art creation. It was funny. I went walking with my dog yesterday and happened to walk by a garage sale. And I walked in the garage and that was the first thing I saw. And it was handmade. I'm like, how much? And they said $40. And I'm like, oh. So I went into my wallet and I only had $10. And they're like, you know what? We'll take 10 for it. And I get home and I look on the back and the artist handwritten tag, his business card was on the back, and the price was $120. So I'm like, yes, score. Yeah, I like wins, you know. I didn't even think about it. I'm walking down the street with this big wooden thing, handmade, and I was like, this is me. It's got to go in my background. So that was exciting.
Yes, that's so special. What a gift and what a way to start the week. And so, aside from that conversation tomorrow, what are you
Yeah.
looking forward for the rest of the week between now and next Monday? And maybe you can show up or you want to show up on
Yeah.
Friday for the new moon. So, what?
Well, oddly enough, I like to color. I actually have a whole set of paintbrush tip markers, you know, and the Buffalo Bills emblem that's on the helmet. I actually printed that out and I colored it on my own because it didn't come with that. So I like to color. It's, you know, like the adult coloring books, stuff like that. It really it's amazing to me how much stress that relieves when you focus on staying in the lines and you know, shading. I also have crayons, colored pencils, and I know I wouldn't look like a guy that colors, but I do. I love it, and I put it off for a while because I was busy. But yesterday I got the bug back when I colored the Bills emblem, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna leave these out, and I pulled out some of my already printed coloring. What do you call it? Templates, I guess, if you will. And I'm eager to start coloring again.
Oh, I love that so much. And, looking like a guy who doesn't color, I don't know what that looks like.
Well,
The thing, yeah, right. You just look like yourself and you happen to like coloring, but the things that we tell ourselves, right? That stop us from doing this or that, you may probably never have imagined that you would be on a live show painting or coloring or whatever. But for the benefit of everyone listening, if you're wondering, what is mindfulness? What does mindfulness mean as a concept? You get out of your head and you focus on where you're standing and what are your hands doing. And
right.
so coloring or painting your house or cleaning, actually doing something with your hands, cooking. These are all mindfulness activities. I mean, unless you're me and you get distracted with the cooking because you're in your head and then you forget the salt. It happens often. So then I'm not focused on what my hands are doing, right? But if you're actively participating in your activity, then you're not thinking about the negative. You're not thinking about the ruminating mind. You're not thinking about the fear of doing this or that. That's what mindfulness is. So we're
Yeah.
going to talk a lot about that in this show because I like to remind people that this has to be part of your strategy every single week. When are you accommodating mindfulness in your schedule? Cecilia Grace just joined us and she goes for a run every morning.
Yeah.
And so she's on her feet. If she's not mindful of where she's at and the streets that she's crossing, it could be tragic. So you have to pay attention. And that's what mindfulness is. So I'm very excited, Frankie
Yeah.
J. Thank you for
Well,
coming.
good. Well, real quick before
Yeah, tell
I
us.
think Cecilia was probably gonna come up. Hi, Cece. I had a phone call when I requested before. I actually have been in what's called DBT skills training for the last decade, and so you know they teach you mindfulness, interpersonal communication skills, how to appropriately address trauma, how to be mindful, and all that stuff. So I'm on the up and up when it comes to those topics. I journal every single day. I actually have a templated card that I printed out and I fill it out every day. And the reason I do that is I look for patterns of when I feel a certain way and when, to try to figure out, well, maybe on this day, these days, I need to do something different. So, believe it or not, the hard, Frankie J guy, I actually, I actually journal a lot. And I mean, I got my pen and paper always ready to go. And that's just me. A lot of people don't know a lot about me, believe it or not. They know me from being on these social audio apps, but they don't know the real me yet. And that's what my show on here is about. Just basically putting it out there and letting it rip because I've always held back. I've always held back because I don't know. I don't know why. I can't give you that answer. I want to do something so bad and I get all planned to do it and then all of a sudden I just don't. So now I'm just going to do it. So anyways, that's my sales pitch for the week. But no,
That's
it's
wonderful. Yes, you're spinning that wheel. You
yeah,
are
exactly.
figuring it out as you go. And I know that keeping that notepad handy has to do with being in tune and connecting with your thoughts. You know, you don't have to call it spirit, you don't have to call it revelation. You can call it just you and your inspiration. That's fine. What I want is, what are you going to do about it? Right? And for it to be for the highest good of all and for the benefit of your community. If you're doing those, if you're checking those boxes, then at least I'm happy, right? Because then I was able to help you along the way in some way that is for the highest good of all. And so I check my own boxes, right?
Yeah,
And to have that notebook next to you ensures that you're connecting and that you're putting those dots together and figuring out, this doesn't work, this is not a good idea, no, this topic doesn't jive with me this week, no, I'm not gelling with this week, maybe another week. And I know that you're also calling in specific guests that you want to bring up. I remember you mentioned that a few episodes ago. So have you made any moves to call some guests and to invite them? Here it's easy, all you have to do is click a button and send an
yeah.
email.
Well, I also unfortunately, well, I don't say unfortunately, thankfully, I am so quick at diagnosing now if someone's toxic for me in any fashion. I just recently in the last few years really started reading my gut and listening to it instead of it rolling around like a pizza dough maker. I'm starting to stop it, the machine, before it gets going because it's not healthy, right? So I had to make another, I guess, hard decision this past couple weeks to detach from yet another person. But the kind of guest, to answer your question, the kind of guests I want to bring up are people that fit my mold, that are going to put value into what we're doing. You know, I call it a team. This is a community. It's not to me, it's not a competition where a lot of people really, oh, I want to have the best show. And it's, to me, I don't, I just want to have a great show that people enjoy and that I enjoy doing. Like your show, I enjoy it.
Makes a
I'm,
difference. You
I
want
don't
to show.
know. Right. And I don't know a whole lot about the full moon and all that stuff, but I like learning. So the good thing is that I'm open to that and learning about it. So I like your show because it's something different that I've never learned. I mean, I got two college degrees also, psychology and criminal justice. I'm, so my brain is a huge sponge and I love learning new things because it's about learning because the only way to grow is to keep learning. You can if you only learn so much and you stop, you're not going to grow very much more. I mean, you're just not. So I'm in a lifetime college program right now, and I've learned a lot from CC yourself, Noble Ron. I just recently, I think him and I recently started talking. So it's to me, I'm building friendships here. I don't call it networking. I call it friend
Oh,
making. So
that's so beautiful. I love that. We're friend making together. That's so wonderful.
together. I can't
Together.
sing, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much, Frankie.
Anyways, if you want me
Going
to
to
jump
be a
off here, I will.
beautiful week.
All
Yes.
right.
And I'm
All
just
right.
so grateful that you're here. And I'll see you tomorrow on your show at
All right.
noon.
And I hope CC shows up too and Noble Ron. I'm calling you both out. 12 p.m. here on Fireside. It should be a good one. And as always, Graciela, thank you for your support. I do appreciate it.
Of course.
And tomorrow's topic is going to be a little tough for me. Not tough to speak, but emotions because it is a real thing. And it's something I've been dealing with. And I want to flip the script, is what they say in these therapy courses. Flip the script. Everything that you've done in the past, if it didn't work, do it differently.
Right.
So my way now is to talk about it professionally, appropriately, with dignity and respect versus the way I used to handle it. So that's why I'm doing this show tomorrow. This show, out of all the shows I've ever done, this is probably the most meaningful one to me. So I'm nervous, and for you and all the support I'm getting with it, I'm thankful because to have people around that support what I'm doing is that's what makes a difference, really. So
Right.
thank you for that. Thanks, CC Noboran, for everyone. Ray, I know Ray's listened in on my talks before. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and jump off here and let you complete your mission. T minus right now. So I'll go ahead and jump off the stage and thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Frankie J. Are you going to say Frankie out? Oh, you didn't. It's okay. Frankie out. That's
Oh,
I know he didn't.
and
It's
I just
okay.
want to, yeah, I want to say though to Frankie J, kudos, using this language, kudos to Frankie J for his journaling, and I admire that deeply. Especially when he talks about like he looks for patterns, and that's like a deep investment in oneself. And I just my hats off to him because I've been trying so hard to stay on to journaling, and it's just for some reason it's like I don't know why, but I've got to get into the habit of it. But I love that. Thanks, Frankie J, for the shout out too.
Number one, real quick.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
actually can back channel you a template for journaling. It's actually a fill in the blank circle thing, and it's by day. It's like a calendar almost, and
that
it
would
makes it
be
a lot easier.
perfect.
So I will back channel you and send you a copy of it because along with writing freehand freestyle, I do use that journal card because it helps me. That's where I can, you know, uh, look at the patterns and see on what day for the month, and then go back and research it, highlight the moments, and it's amazing how the patterns come out. So I'll definitely back channel that to you if you like.
Yes, please. And how long have you been doing it?
I've been in that DBT skills training course for 10 years now,
Whoa,
and it's
that is awesome.
yeah, it's amazing. And the woman that runs the course, she's been in this field for well over 40 years, and she has all the credentials. She's not just someone fresh out of school. I mean, she actually has her own trauma, and she uses her own traumas and experiences to run the course. And it's once a week, hour and a half a week, and she does it in 6 modules, and then gives you a month off to kind of absorb the modules, and then you come back and you get back into it. And it's a really great thing. And I'll tell you, for me, if I didn't have that, I mean, I'd be ruminating. Like Graciela said, rumination is a really bad thing if you're in dark places. Um,
Yes.
Rumination's okay if you're doing it for the right reasons. But for me, I was caught up in just sitting around, and I would just sit still, frozen, stuck in the mud because the rumination was absolutely paralyzing.
Right.
So, am I completely 100%? Yeah, no. But you know what? I want to be. So that's what my motivation is. And I still have days where I'm like, I don't want to even get out of bed. But that's, part of the way my life goes. But I accept it, I embrace it, and I just do what I can do to work through it. And hello, CC. I was thinking to you, but I'll give it all to you right now. Frankie J out.
That's so,
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Ron, before we get into your week, I would like to touch on some of the things that may be blocking. I'm not singling you out. I mean in
right.
general. So if I may, I just want to touch on some things, right? Because we talk a lot about journaling, and I know that this is handwritten type stuff. So is your handwriting something that you look at and you don't like it? That may be something that is getting in the way of why you're not journaling. If you have been told that you're not a good speller, or you've been, traumatized in some way academically because you're not a good writer, or you don't have whatever good penmanship, these may be things that may be getting in your way of self-expression in the handwritten form. So if you're a big texter, get on a notes app and type it out. Give yourself a small goal of today I'm going to write 20 words. Okay, great. Count them out. Next week I'm going to write 50 words. Before you know it, you're writing long paragraphs of how you are feeling, but start somewhere. You don't have to journal a whole book, right? We don't need
Right.
to fill out the page all at once. You can just, think of it as a postcard. If you were writing a postcard today and you were sending it to Frankie J or to myself or to Cece, what would it say?
Right.
Right?
No, no. It's
Yeah.
it's
No, I mean in general. Go ahead.
w- right. It's what it is that it's there's some okay. What it is that I use the computer instead of handwriting. That could be a thing, but I definitely don't have a problem with like I've never had been penalized academically for. I mean, I'm actually a good writer, but I think what it is also is I wait to the end of the day and I'm tired, so I got to do it at in the morning or afternoon or whatever when I'm at a peak performance.
Yes, that makes total sense. I normally don't journal before bed either. And if I do, it's more of a gratitude thing. I'm grateful that the show went well today, or I'm grateful that I got the package that I was waiting. I'm so happy about that. All these
Yeah.
things. Counting the blessings, right? That journaling seems to be a lot easier than answering a prompting that really makes me look at the fear of not doing something or the fear of whatever. So, just ponder these things and get on the computer. Frankie J said in the comments that he uses his voice memo app. So he actually just talks to text when he doesn't feel like journaling. And the point is to express it, not to repress it, not to hold it in. So, at the same time, if you are sharing a lot of your personal journey with someone consistently, then that also counts, but you can't look back on those conversations. And let me tell you, in the context of, toxic abuse and all of this domestic violence, keeping a journal can be so enlightening to realize that you have been decades in a toxic relationship, complaining about the same things forever without taking actions to change your circumstance and to create a different life. So then the journaling comes in handy, because if you look back at it, you say, oh, wow, this has been going on forever and I didn't even realize it. So there's reasons why putting it on paper can be so powerful. And of course, I don't remember what I put there because I sealed it with paint. So when we come together twice a month to do that moon ritual where we just journal and paint together, just hold it in your heart and take it with you, put it up in a wall and see it every day. I know that I planted seeds of goodness. I planted seeds of growth. I planted seeds of good intentions for me and my community. And it's happening. We're doing it right now. So thank you all for joining me. Ron,
Yes.
what are you looking forward to this week?
Well, like I said before, it was on Wisdom. That's what it was. I am doing a recording of an instrumental piece with guitar for a filmmaker in Canada. He's in Montreal. He did a short film. It's really awesome. And he has like a minute in, minute out for me to do this instrumental. And I'm looking forward to that very much.
Yes, I'm looking forward. Wait, I'm looking forward to that for you. Okay,
Thank you.
yes, my prepositions got mixed up in my brain. That sounds amazing. And
Thank
I'm
you.
looking forward to having you on my stage on Saturday to interview you, hopefully make you cry,
Yes.
have a great conversation.
It'll be a great conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming up. And Cecilia Grace is in the room. Hello, Cecilia. How are you doing this evening? And what are you looking forward to this week?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay, I made it.
Yay. You made it and Kathy made it. And I'm so happy that
Yay. I just wanted to say hi.
we're having a party because you're here.
Yay. Cool. Well, yeah, I was a little resistant to the Fireside thing, but then I realized, it's not about me. It's about you, supporting you. So thank you. I love you.
Oh, thank you so much, Cecilia. It's about all of us. And, it's about the moon and about your plans for the week. And you're with Angelina. So do you have anything like special planned this week that you would?
We're supposed to go for a hike tomorrow. We're pretty much going to spend the day together tomorrow because we couldn't today. So yeah, we're going to spend the day tomorrow hiking, and we had a fantastic dinner last night together. We cooked together, and if you're wondering, if Angelina or anybody is as sweet as they sound on the apps, like especially Wisdom, because we don't see each other. I think more so in person. Thank you.
Yes, I absolutely believe you. There's something in her voice that just exudes all of that empathy. And, we're all family on that app. So I'm very grateful that you joined us. This is what my show is about. And I hope that you have a wonderful time tomorrow. Be careful. Don't get hurt. You're probably going to want to try to live. And I can't wait to see the pictures. So I'm just so happy and proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for coming
Hi,
up.
Frankie J. Hi, Ron. Hi.
All right, Cecilia. So get comfortable. We're going to do a meditation now, okay?
Awesome.
All right. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. So get comfortable. We are going to dive into a quick meditation. As you know, Monday's episode is meant to be shorter so that then Friday's episode, it's a bit more, I don't know, juicier, if you want to call it that, or more in depth, I guess would be the political, right? More in depth would be the politically correct way to say it. So let's just do that. And as you know, music for this meditation is brought to you by Brain FM. And again, I forgot to put my link on the fortune cookie, which is talking about spirit over ego. What do you know? We've been talking about the spirit versus ego in the book club. So you see how things are just aligned? This is actually why I left the fortune cookie the way it is, because I realized that it's talking about what we've been discussing in the book club. So what a gift. But if you click on my picture right there where it says Graciela, you're going to be able to see my bio, and in my bio is my link, and in my link is all of this information. Buy me a coffee, book a call, follow me on all these apps, and Brain FM with a free trial and 20% off on your membership. So make sure that you check that out. So get comfortable, sit back, sit straight, put your feet on the ground, and just slow breathing. We're going to go ahead and do an unguided meditation from the meditation setting. And the genre is atmospheric because we're out in the universe, just floating around, and just relax. As you know, we're going to activate that vagus nerve. Imagine it kind of like a neon bright web that goes from your stomach to your cerebellum, and in between it's touching all of your major organs. And the sole purpose of this nerve in your body is to relax you, to bring you back to stillness. If you're laying down, for example, you activate the vagus nerve by breathing into your stomach, filling it in, and then expelling that air. If you're sitting up like myself, your core is already engaged, and that's fine. You're still going to be able to activate it by following my lead. We're going to do 2 repetitions of that. And you should feel nice and relaxed. The perfect way to finish your Monday. So just focus on your breathing, normal breathing, nice and slow. As I like to say, nowhere to go, nothing to do, just be here now. And with me, you're going to take a deep breath in slowly, just deep, deep, deep. Fill those lungs, just breathe in deep. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. Slow, slow, slow. We're not in a hurry. Just breathe all the way out until you have no air. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe in again. Just nice and slow, just deep breath, just all the way to the top. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. All the way. Just breathe it out. You might feel the need to gasp afterwards. This is normal. Just follow your lead. Once you take that deep breath in again and you gasp, if that's what you felt like, you should feel relaxed just from that one time. And we're going to do another one of that in a few minutes. But as you relax, with your mind's eye, just imagine that you're sitting on a bench in the most beautiful garden. And in the distance, there's a gardener on his knees. He has tools. He has seeds. He has plants. He has everything he needs. And when you look around you, you're not prepared. You want to help, but you realize you don't have tools. Just focus on your breathing. Focus on my voice. As you approach this gardener, you realize that his seeds are words. So you can actually write down a few of those. If every intention is one seed, what would you write? Seeds of love, seeds of kindness, seeds of collaboration, seeds of peace during a very difficult conversation. What are the seeds of intention that you want to plant this week? Focus on all of the blessings that are already at your disposal. Focus on the strategy that you can actually figure out today to be able to then find the tools. Do you need to go to a store to get them? Do you need to get a job before you go to the store? All of these moves that we make every single day, you can strategize for all of it. With me, take a deep breath in again. Just deep, deep, deep. Fill those lungs. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go nice and slow. Just all the way out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again. Slow, slow, slow. Deep breath in. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let it go. Let it go slow and surrender the need to control. Surrender the fear of what you're planting not coming to fruition. Surrender the need to hover over it, overwater it. Let's not do those things, right? So you kindly say thank you to the gardener. You walk back to your bench and you look around and you think, what a beautiful day. What a beautiful moment to have together. Slowly open your eyes. Come back to me, yeah, yeah. Frankie may have fallen asleep, and that's fine. We already texted about it. Frankie's awake. Yay! Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. You know, we're going to go back to that garden on Friday. We're actually going to talk and discuss some actual seeds that we can plant. And here's the thing, there's a lot of faith that goes into planting something. You plant it and then you don't see it, right? And you kind of forget about it. Hopefully not. Hopefully you've been watering the things that you are putting together, right? I love plants inside because it reminds me that I need to be mindful of them. I need to actively be on the ground to look at the things around me because otherwise they would all die, right? And that's mindfulness. So if you're watching this and you never thought that you were mindful, but you have houseplants that you take care of, you are mindful. So just so you know, and remember that just because you don't have a social media presence does not mean that you're not a content creator. You definitely are. You are creating the life of your dreams. You're creating the reality that you want to thrive in. Kathy is writing a children's book. Frankie is having a very difficult conversation tomorrow. Ron is creating music for some producer in Canada. What? I'm so excited, so proud of all of you. Melam, thank you for joining us. We are right at the end, but please watch the replay. Deanna, if you're still here, thank you so much for being here and for coming up. It is a pleasure to have you. I'm not sure whether or not you're still here, but I'm sending an invitation for you to come up and speak if you want to. And Ray, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. And, you know, again, this is what Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace is all about. We meet Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again for the new moon and the full moon. And we were able to simulcast to YouTube. So if you are wondering how that went, then check it out on Graciela Moore on YouTube, or you can search, thank you, or you can search Moon Magic and Mindfulness. So thank you all again. I love you so much, and I will see you Friday night for our new moon episode. Thank you so much. Thank you.